Today, we have several improvements to share from assembly. So Joseph really didn't like how the hose from the staple gun sat on the table and got in the way of what he was doing. It was kind of annoying to feel like he was always dragging the hose around on the work table. So he made a pretty simple solution to reduce some of the extra motion caused by having to manipulate their air hose to the desired positions. By tacking the hose to the wall and adding a large rubber band to the hanger above, he was able to make it so that the hose was always out of the way, but still retained its range of motion. He then added a cubby for the gun to be placed in, so it always was in the exact same place when needed, and also in a position where it can be picked up for immediate action. And Ephraim made yet another improvement to one of their drawers by making a place for all of the needed items and labeling each compartment to assure items are placed where they go each time after use for easy acquisition when needed the next time. The assembly department also improved the method of processing jobs with odd sizes of slides. The odd slides did not have a standardized home, and as a result, drawer box team members would often have to go looking for them when needed for box manufacturing. So Chris, Lolo, and Christina created a system by their meeting board area that includes a home for special slides and a dry erase label system where they can specify what jobs the slides go to. They also made a home for the hood venting duct pipe, so they could store it near the work floor instead of having to go up on the balcony above Michelle's office to obtain it when needed. And over in face frames, their old process involved moving their cart of cut parts over to the castle machine in order to add pocket holes in their material. Then they needed to unload the material off of the cart and onto the table next to the machine. After placing pocket holes in the wood, they would have to carry the material over to the building table to be laid out for face frame assembly. By removing the stationary table and adding a new mobile cart, they can complete the pocket hole process straight from the cart by eliminating the previous unloading process. The HDF department used to store some of their regular cutting bits on their machine next to their keyboard. They didn't really have an official home that was close to where they needed them during bit changes, and placing them at this location wasn't ideal as there was a risk of them falling over and falling onto the ground. Well, they came up with a great solution. By putting a toolbox right by the changing station on the CNC, they now have the bits quickly accessible and secure. A few days ago, Peter was looking into the maintenance requirements on their miter frame machine and found himself looking into different cupboards for the replacement insert blades for the machine. Although he was the most experienced person in the door department, he couldn't seem to find them. He found it was quite ridiculous that he didn't know where they were. After a lot of looking around, he finally found out that they were located inside the computer cabinet on the machine. To prevent this waste of waiting and motion in the future caused by not having this information clearly presentable, he had a sign made that tells all qualified operators and technicians where they can find replacement blades when needed. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for our next character building video.
Imagine for a moment that there was a large foreign military base in Rocky Ridge, say Russian or Chinese. Imagine hundreds of enemy troops driving down the road in military vehicles, patrolling into every home, breaking in and invading your private life, your intimate relationships, your family. What if they were present in all of our meetings, our places of work or worship, moving unchecked and unhindered? Imagine that they were here under the guise of building relationships or keeping the peace. Imagine that they operate outside of law, that they weren't being held accountable for their actions, and that the Constitution didn't apply to them. Imagine every now and then they attacked one of us, routinely harmed or tore down innocent people, ransacking their lives, including women and children, most of the time with little or no consequences. Imagine they controlled through a culture of fear and mistrust, working in a never-ending campaign to turn us against each other, offering us favor, social status, even money. Imagine our leaders have been unable to extract them from our community, as too many of us have turned sides. What if some of us were so angry we banded together to fight off this foreign presence in defense of our lives, families, and liberties, but were labeled extremists or radicals? Imagine that the occupiers' attitude was that if they just terrorized enough of us, the resistance would stop. The reality here is that the presence of gossip should be as offensive to those of us that live here as an armed foreign force stationed in Rocky Ridge. Shutting down gossip and standing up for those around you is not extremism. It's protecting them from an invasive enemy force designed to tear them down and destroy them piece by piece. Choose to take up arms in defense of your community.